The main thing you learned was that what you learn in school is not going to help you in the investment world.
You know, maybe a little bit on how things have changed from, say, your first trip across in 1988, was it? And
all the way across China was for 98, yes.
Yeah.
I motorcycled around another part. But I want to go back to something you said before.
I'm sorry,
That the main thing you learned was that what you learn in school is not going to help you in the investment world. And I frequently tell people, don't get an MBA. You're wasting your time and your money, and everything you learn, you got to unlearn if you want to be successful in investing. My real investments were in '99 is when I started investing in B shares in China. But I've been investing since. There will be problems along the way, but I moved to Asia because of China. I want my children to grow up speaking Mandarin and knowing Asia. It's worked. My children speak perfect Mandarin, and in their lifetime, China will be the most important country. That does not mean there won't be problems in China. America became the greatest country of the 20th century. Along the way, we had 15 depressions with a D. We had a horrible civil war. We had massacres in the streets. We had very little rule of law. You could buy and sell You could still buy and sell congressmen, but in the 19th century they were cheap. You could buy 4 or 5 for the price of one now. America had many problems along the way, but the Chinese have a wonderful word that we don't have in English. They've been around longer. It's Wei-ji, and Wei-ji means catastrophe and opportunity are the same thing. They go hand in hand. So when you see catastrophe, remember Wei-ji. China's the only country in history that's had recurring periods of greatness. China's been at the absolute top 3 or 4 times in history. They've collapsed, total disaster, 3 or 4 times in history. But they're the only country which, after a few decades or centuries at the bottom, has turned around. Great Britain was great once, Rome was great once, Egypt was great once, but China's been great 3 or 4 times. And in my view, they're on the rise again. They've been in decline for 300 or 400 years because the Chinese, I mean, you can go anywhere in the world and you see Chinese capitalists, and that's been the case for a long, long, long time. And Mao Zedong actually, so China was pure communist for literally 27 years. Yeah, glad you pointed it out. California is more communist than China is. Absolutely. Massachusetts is more communist than China. I mean, they call themselves communists, and you know, I'm sure tomorrow they're going to say communism with a Chinese flavor. I mean, it's a different world, whether we like it or not. And I know many people in America say, communist? Well, they call themselves communists, but you know, Italy calls itself a Catholic nation. I don't think I've ever seen it in any other country as powerful as I saw it driving across China on my motorcycle and in the car. I drove across China twice on a motorcycle, once in a car, and I drove around parts of China on a motorcycle once. And you couldn't help but see it. It was just the most amazing thing. And I've motorcycled around the world twice. I have never seen it in any other country. This sort of drive, this ambition. As I said before, China is the only country that's been great 3 or 4 times. I mean, many things in China are ahead of the US. Again, I don't like saying it, Steve. I'm an American, my kids are Americans, my wife is American, but I have to face reality, and the Chinese are Tencent, Alibaba, I mean, you know the names as well as I do. These are not little guys in the backyard somewhere. Right. These are major, gigantic powerhouses built on technology. And as more and more of them learn about investing in stocks, whether they're forced to or do it because they see it on the internet or whatever, that is gigantic. To go from 9% to 18%, we're talking about 1.3 billion people. That's a lot of money coming into the markets in the future, and it's going to happen. It's certainly going to happen one way or the other. So there are other possibly bullish things going on here, and they are developing investment accounts, pension accounts. China does have internal debt. They're the largest creditor nation with huge foreign currency reserves, but in China, some companies have built up debt, and those companies which deal with the West, when the West has problems, China's going to have problems too, especially if you're your customers. When your customers have problems, you have problems.
Before we continue, help us by smashing that YouTube like button and subscribe now to this channel. This shows the algorithm that you value the information, and it helps us spread this message. Sharing is caring. Please like and subscribe now. Thank you. And now, let's continue.
Some of those Chinese companies now have debt, and they're going to be bankruptcies. That when people get in trouble, we're going to let them go bankrupt. I wish in Washington.
Right.
I wish in London they would say that
Right.
too. But and I don't know if the Chinese mean it, but they have said it. Now, they haven't been capitalists very long this time around, so I don't know if they mean it or not. That's what I said before. I hope I'm brave enough when I see bankruptcies in China. I hope I'm brave enough to do something and have studied enough history that I'm prepared for it. U.S. to maybe a transition. The U.S. is making all-time highs. The Chinese market is down 60%. Now, I don't know if they taught you at school, but you're supposed to buy low and sell high.
Right.
So for me, in 2018, something that's down 60% might be more attractive than something making all-time highs. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to buy it, but I'd rather start in a market that's down than one that's going through the roof. It's different this time. They talk about the new money, whatever it is, the foreign money that's coming in for whatever reason. There's always some new money. There's always new technology. In 1999, the Wall Street Journal started writing about the new economy, capital N, capital E. I mean, they literally capitalized new economy. The same thing happened. People quit their jobs to go to become full-time investors. College students decide this is the future. I mean, it becomes everywhere. Since we had a wild bubble in the U.S., 1999, you know, the NASDAQ, double, triple in 3 months or 6 months, whatever the numbers are.
6 months,
They're unbelievable numbers that happened. It happened in '68. I worked for Wall Street, for a guy named Roy Neuberger, who founded Neuberger Berman, and he thought he had lost it because all these guys around him were making so much money. But he said to me, when the bear market comes, they're going to lose everything they've made because they don't know why they made it. But also, why not, if it's going to happen, why wouldn't you buy Japan or China? These markets are very depressed compared, and they have some great names, and there's lots of liquidity, and lots of people yet to buy them. So if the U.S. market is going to skyrocket into a bubble, which it might very well, it's going to be horrendous. It's going to be a nightmare. The last bear market in 2008 was caused by too much debt. I mean, the debt has skyrocketed everywhere, even in China. In 2008, China had a lot of money saved for a rainy day. It started raining, they started spending it, helped save the world. But now China has internal debt. Now even China has debt. So the next bear market, who's going to save us? They're in for bankruptcy. I mean, they're going to lose everything. They're going to lose it all because anybody who is, even if you're not leveraged, the stocks, in bear markets, Steve, stocks go down much more than anybody can believe. Like in bull markets, they go up more. I mean, you cannot believe. So my advice is only invest in what you yourself know a lot about, because then you'll know when to sell. Don't listen to me. If I sell it, I'm not going to call you and say, you know that stock I told you to buy? I sold it. And you're not going to know what to do unless you only invest in what yourself know. Somewhere along the line, Mr. Trump or somebody is going to say, okay, we solved the problem. Whether they have or not, they're going to say they've solved the problem and make everybody look, that may lead to your melt up. Then everybody's going to say, okay, we're safe. And that guy, Steve, was right. The people who think that they can do something which they cannot, and they try, and the problem is we all suffer. I told you the next bear market's going to be the worst in my lifetime. That would be what's going to do it. If he comes in at that point and says, we're going to show them I'm smarter than they are. We can beat them, and we will beat them. But in the meantime, a lot of people suffer very, very badly, and that's always happened with trade wars. So be worried. What you should do is read Stansberry research, and then you will know what to do and how to handle it and how to make a lot of money.
What to do in such a situation? Inform yourself and keep your financial education strong. We from the Compact Group offer our loyal subscribers a free educational portal with first-hand monetary, financial, and economic knowledge. Enter our invite-only Insider Club by clicking the link below. You will get access to first-class information far earlier than the rest. We have prepared a special deal for all our members where you can access a giant pool of Robert Kiyosaki's financial wisdom for just $1. To find out more, simply click the link below and join our Insider Club absolutely free. But there is more you can and should do. Build up several streams of income. More and more people realize that they have to take their future in their own hands, but they don't know how and where to start. We from Compact offer our Insider Club members unique opportunities. Strengthen your financial muscle and get the edge. Click the link below. Become part of our free Insider Club. No financial obligations. But there's one important thing you have to know. You have to become active. So do it now. Become active and see you on the other side.